So I have no planned presentation. I am a shoot from the hip type of person. So I will kind of go into the things that I think you might be interested in. Then, of course, if you have questions. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is all to write in the chat. Oh, we're not on avatars. Well, actually, that is important. So I would tell you as a broker, because we all are avatar and we don't have this in real life event, that when your broker asks you to engage. It's because they're struggling. Because when we're talking to a screen, and you don't get any engagement back, it's really difficult to be what you want us to be. So, but before we get to there, I'm going to start with onboarding. It's not a lie, it's a struggle. EXP is struggling with it even today. Excuse me, KW. Uh, always trying to. um, the onboarding system is cumbersome right now, and they know it. Even today, as I'm sitting here this morning, I've already gotten 2 messages from my ASC that because they have now opened up a whole new division, agent, specialist, coordinator. I don't know. Agent ASC. Honestly, I don't know what they stand for. They change them all the time. PPS is now TPS, so I call them my toilet paper specialists when they're transaction processors special. So they change all the time. I just make fun of them. So basically, my ASC is my onboarding specialist. She's my assistant to help me get new people on. EXP does know that we're having people come on in droves, and it's hard to keep up with. So even this morning, I was messaged from my ASC that Parker, who was originally a ROM, who then went to regional operation manager, she has now taken on the agent experience, her and Curtis Dixon, as of last week. What they are doing is redoing that whole system now. And so as of next week, we are supposed to, what I was told this morning is we have to have our entire onboarding process and every hand that touches it reported back to them so that they can streamline it. Because we are in all different states, it is different anywhere. So what I'm going to encourage you as you're bringing people on is one box does not fit everything. We are all different. Every state has something different. I'll give you an example of Oklahoma. So if you're in a different state, you might see the difference. In Oklahoma, for somebody to onboard, they have to right now, and 2 weeks ago, this changed. So right now they have to go on to their commission website, transfer their license, join EXP, or actually if they start it, everything starts at the app. Join exprealty.com. Always starts there. Don't try to circumvent it. Don't try to jump it. It has to go there first. That puts them in the system. From there, in the system, it goes to the onboarding people. They're the ones that then send them, they're like, welcome to EXP. We have some more information we need from you. Once they pass that hurdle, it then arrives in the state's mailbox. So if we don't even know about them, that means they haven't passed the first level. We get them at that next level. So when we get them, we're at that point where broker, I need you to approve them in your state. So in Oklahoma, we send them a letter that is written by each broker because it's all different. And we send them back to the state. They have to transfer their license, pay their fees, collect the receipt to next go to the board. Then they always have to join a board. Even if they've been on a board, they've got to rejoin their board. So go there, transfer, pay the receipt, send it back to us, and only then can we move them forward. Sponsors. So I know you all want to make sure that somebody's in your downline. This is such a heavy debate that it's now drawn like a line in the sand. There's no switching. Even the other day, I had somebody that was stuck because they were coming on with the team. The team leader wasn't ready to come over, even though she had LOI. She needed to get on now. And I was like, okay, put her under me. And then as soon as we get her in and her person comes on, we'll transfer out of me and put them into that. That was a huge red light. No, no, no. It can't do it. EXP will not let you change sponsors. She did, but it's still, what happened is, and this is what I want you to remember is, everybody's smart. but sometimes they're not as smart as they think they are. We'll get people constantly that say, "Oh, I'm just waiting for the broker. I'm just waiting for the broker to approve me." And we haven't even seen him yet. They don't read. So help your people out. They don't read the letter. They don't read their steps. And so when they're stuck sometimes and they think it's an EXP spot, it's because they missed a step. They didn't read something that was supposed to happen. Or do the revisions. Or right. They haven't signed the ICA yet. They think because they did the form and submitted that was all they had to do. And they go to the next one and they kind of read through them. So I would tell you, engage with them. Don't leave them alone. Don't just send them on their own. Probably most of you in the room don't. But for those that are coming in underneath you, help educate them. Here's the other thing I want you to know. EXP does not want the broker to be the attractor. So therefore, some, not all, but some people rely on the broker. I get calls 15 times a week. I've got some people interested. I have no idea what to say. I'm going to send them to you. EXP does not want me doing that. And I've asked that 100 times, like, do I do that? I don't want to make them mad. And they're like, the job, the opportunity was for that sponsor. That's their responsibility. If they don't know how to do it, then they should not be doing it. So, to me, that's, important for you all to know. Don't lean on the broker. The broker, that was actually one thing. We were mad at our last broker before me because he wouldn't engage. Now, he didn't explain that to anybody, so everybody kind of got ticked at him instead. So I'm explaining to you, they actually don't want us to engage in that. That's your opportunity, your responsibility. So stay up to date on everything. As brokers, I have 335 agents. I cannot keep up. I'm learning stuff at this event because I can't keep up with what's going on in the back on that stuff because that's not my day to day. So most likely your broker's not up to day of what's going on and changing. So stay involved in the agent attraction stuff if that's what you want to do. Don't lean on the broker for it. Once they get on, make sure they're reading everything. They're missing their Ring Central numbers. When they miss that Ring Central number, it goes to the brokers. And I don't know, I mean, I'm forwarding mine on, but I don't know when you have 10,000 agents in Texas if that's happening. So make sure they're putting their Ring Central numbers on there, their extensions that they've been given. Make sure they're reading all of those emails. Yes. So that is your EXP phone number. Now, if you're at marketing right, I'll take my broker hat off. If you're an agent back on why are you using that number? Use your cell number. Right. But there are some people that just literally don't want to take phone calls. So they send it, they let it route and so forth. So that's your EXP office number. Some states require an office number. Right. Like we require, and on contracts, they require your office number so they can get a hold of the broker.
Which your extension would go to you, but they'll have an option to go to the main line.
Right. Right. Yeah. So just know, I always tell in our state, I tell our people to put that extension number on the sign as well so that they don't miss the calls that could come in. What else can I let you know on the broker side? Brokers have a lot on their plate. For me, I do all your sky slope. I do all the legal. I have to attend about 5 meetings a week. You meet monthly with your ROM. You have to meet 3 times a week with your ASCs and your PPSs. So there's a lot of requirements on that. We have a monthly staff meeting with Dave Kennord and all those guys where they will go over things. So we'll hear things a little bit faster than you will on the leadership meetings at the end of the week. But that's where they try to tune us into what's coming in. There's some huge things rolling out, which I can't talk about yet, but they are rolling out. Well, and I will tell you, so our other pain point, the mentor program. So here's where I'm going to tell you, you're going to lose with your agents. Set the expectation. Don't oversell something. Don't promise them something that you don't know firsthand what's happening on. I personally think our mentorship program is broken and there's other ways that we can do it, but I know they're working on it. But the biggest thing that I see when people leave, when they complain about that is the complaint about the mentor program. Oh, they didn't, their expectation, they were told was that, and it probably happened to you, and that's why you left. told that they were going to get, this person was going to teach them the business and they were going to know everything. That's not the program. They are not a coach. That's what William was saying. The mentors are not to be coaching. The good thing about the mentor program is they're actually going to increase the pay. So it's now to 10, 10, 10 to EXP, 10 to the mentor. It's now 15 to the mentor and 5 to EXP. So they wanted to give more to the mentors, but I think what's going to come with that is accountability, because we didn't have a way to keep them really accountable. So in my area, I'm struggling. I've got some that do a phenomenal job, and I got some that do a really shitty job, but I can't do anything about it. But they're fixing it so it'll work with that. But if you're going to cross state lines, and that is where I see the biggest, is you may be talking about where Ruben's from and what's happening in the mentor program there, and they're coming to Oklahoma, but they don't get that experience. So they feel like they've been let down now by the company on the front end. So just try to explain, find out what really is the mentor program, attend one of the mentor trainings, and see exactly what it is, and kind of lay that out, set the expectation. If they exceed their expectations, that's awesome. But we don't want to let down their expectations. So don't oversell something that you're not quite sure on.
You can give them the agents like Kickstarter program.
Right, right. So on sponsorships too, and I wanted to talk about that because Micah and Hamudi are extremely gracious. They give so much. Look at Hamudi. He's falling asleep back there. I mean, he's just so. What did you think, Hamudi? Now, that's not a requirement. That is not an EXP requirement to do what they're doing. You don't have to do that. What they also don't want is they don't want that to be an enticement. Okay, so they're not doing it as an enticement, but we have to be careful when we're out there what we're offering. You can do it because you want to do it, but be careful you're not baiting and trying to think of yourself as back as a realtor. What was legal and not legal on getting a listing? So just pay attention to those things. You can do it without doing those tactics. Everybody is doing it and killing it without doing it. So don't oversell your sponsorship and try to switch somebody away from somebody else, because again, compliance, they're kind of really paying attention to that. They don't like it.
You're the only one.
Right.
And to be completely transparent, we just had a situation where I offered an agent some stuff because he lied to me and told me that we were the only ones in conversation. Spoke with Heidi, found out he was in a conversation with another agent. I emailed him and retroactively took back the things I offered due to him not being transparent.
You mean you offered him support from
Support,
Right.
Mastermind, or training.
Yeah.
But then, and he flat out did not tell me. I mean, I asked him, and he very specifically lied.
Yeah.
And so I sent out an email, and I said, I'm taking back what was offered, because when it was offered, it was under the understanding that you weren't talking with anyone else.
And one thing when that all went down, I had talked to him before. The agent actually brought him to me because he had questions on broker support side. So I had already talked to this guy. He wanted to have his cap waived and all this stuff. So he had asked all these questions. And then as I was going further, he had said he was going to be talking to Micah. And I was like, I thought the guy that he was talking to was in Micah's downline. So keep in mind, as brokers, we don't have that in front of us. We can't see your tree. We don't know who's in your line at all. So I'm assuming because he came and then he was talking to Micah, I'm thinking Micah's just doing what she just said, do that third party validation. But as it went deeper, when I asked him, I'm like, hey, and he's just like, well, I think I'll just get much more out of Micah and Moody than I'm going to get out of Ty. And I was like, hold the phone. I'm like, yes, they're great people, but that's not how EXP works. And he just kept talking about that. And then when I talked to Ty and I talked to Micah, and then I turned back, I'm like, is that really who we want? Do we want someone like that in our organization? And nope, even Ty, afterwards, he knew he was going to get something. He was just like, I don't even know if I'd really want to work with him if he's that shady, because he blatantly lied to her straight up about, I've never talked to anybody. When he got the agreement because of Ty, not me. So it was like, and I don't think he's come on yet, and that probably is a good thing. Yeah, maybe when he has an awakening and he'll come back and he can choose whatever. They also don't understand on the as much as you tell them, it's just like me going to my doctor recently. After a while, you tune out, just like you guys are tuning out right now. But when they're listening to everything, they tune out some of it. So they think, I'm just going to come in. I can switch broker. I can switch a sponsor whenever I want. I'll just switch. My sponsor left. I'm going to go switch to that. Not going to happen.
And that's what this agent was trying to do. He was
Yeah.
trying to come under us and then switch his friend to under us.
Right.
It was,
Right. Right.
Can I ask you a question just with due to a few minutes here? You know, you kind of hit on it a little bit, but maybe elaborate. Agents that are exiting, what is the number one reason? And then besides kind of assisting with the onboarding, what are some of the traits you see between a good attractor and sponsor and maybe one that, you know?
Sure.
So retention is a real thing, right?
So I think one of the reasons we're losing is they feel like, I hear this a lot. They brought me on. They were so excited about me. I've never heard again from them.
That's it. I'm out.
Yeah, I never heard from him again, and so they, that, most of the time I hear it's, newer agents and they misunderstood the mentor program, or I think you had this in any brokerage, probably in yours, they didn't make me succeed. They didn't make me succeed. Where that's really not an EXP fault. That's kind of like, well, did you go to the meeting? Did you do all these things? And these are, I would plug in with your newer agents. Like, have you been going to the meetings? Have you been engaging? Did you do these? Have you gone to any of the classes? Because they do for like the first 2 months, and then they don't tell anything and they start life again and they kind of go back. So I see that a lot. The biggest thing is I feel like nobody's helping me be successful. And I'm kind of a very blunt person. And I'm like, well, I don't think anybody was responsible for your own success but you. But that's a true thing. That's all of us are in this room because we are those people that think I'm responsible for my own success. But the majority of the people we're bringing on don't think that way. They think somebody is supposed to bring them, here you go.
My first coach in the business, she told me, like, you got DISC, you got all these different types of behavioral profiling. So this one organization, their only filter is, are you victim based, or are you 100% responsible for your outcomes? And they only hired people like that, and their organization.
And to be honest, kind of going back to the incentives, I was even looking at that as some of these other organizations in the company were offering things, and we may have lost an agent here or there. And then I was like, yeah, I had to kind of take a step back and say, whoa, whoa, whoa. Instead of complaining about what they're doing, I need to be responsible, and we need to create something and compete. Yeah. Right? And that's really what we need to do. He is here. We've got 2 minutes.
Okay. So 2 things I do want to leave you on. One, don't attract them if it's not going to work for them. Be real with them. If they're not a good fit for this company, it's not their time. Like, it's just like taking an overpriced listing. Let me be your second agency, and you go work with that agency, get your comfort blanket on, and then when you're done with your comfort blanket, then come over. And so keep that relationship. My second thing I want to leave you with is opportunity. Huge opportunity. Get out of the metros, get into the small towns. The small towns, they are being robbed by their brokers, and they have no idea. We've got people coming on that have been paying 60 to the brokerage, 40 to them. I had a lady that she just came on. She had no idea. We figured out her money taking home was going to be 180 GCI. She was making 30 with her old broker. But he was holding her hand. He did her marketing. He had a marketing slush fund for her. He did all of her signs. He did all of her paperwork. I wish he was doing it now. But I mean, because she's horrible. She's horrible. But I see so many, I talk to them, and we're bringing in, and William brought it to our attention, I think. He started bringing in people in Lawton and all these smaller towns, and they are like little gold mines. So I would say, kind of stop out here and maybe spread out to those, because they can't get the big brokerages to come. They won't build a brick and mortar there, and we don't need it to go there.
All right, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you.